what it's like some kind of steroid based, and like the way that their people are trained who use the machines. There's enough a little backstory that it makes it like interesting and plausible. But I don't remember it very much.
Now, last week I said that this was fantasy. It's a military story. I found it in the genre of military, and I said fantasy, but it's more sci-fi.
It's more sci-fi.
And it's not too far in the distant future. This takes place in 2018, and
that's next year.
Yeah, next year we're gonna all have these things attached to our chest that will power us.
Yeah, monitor our bio stuff and then make sure we're optimizing it or something like that.
No, it's going to make us better. Like, we're going to be able to fight for hours. In fact,
you won't care about the pain.
So, our Agent Zero gets into this zone. He sneaks his way into, and he has a task. His task is to come back to his handlers carrying this tech. He needs 2 minutes.
Dead or alive kind of thing. I need to get this thing.
He needs 2 minutes to dig this tech out of the chest of one of these guys. And
he's not against leaving some bombs in his wake.
Yeah, and he uses all means possible. I think it's really kind of a cool story.
It does a good action thing. Like, there should be a genre for I think it's espionage is like its own genre. You know, spy. I think military is a weird. I mean, I guess spies are in the military. But when I think military, I think like, Black Hawk Down or something like that.
Right. This takes a sci-fi bent also.
It does.
And like I said, when I found this in military, I was a little like,
Men in Black.
It takes it's Men in Black.
It's not quite as even sci-fi as Men in Black.
Oh yeah. We haven't got that far yet. This is issue 1.
I guess that's true.
So, our Agent Zero is, and I love these two handlers. Anyhow, like, the fight has gone on for 3 hours. These two war machines, both of them with the tech, carrying the tech, both on opposite sides are fighting it out. And, like, this fight is awesome. James, did you like this fight?
Yeah, I like the fight.
It is so bloody. So one of the guys has like a mask on, so we never see. The
colorist did a good job of making it shine.
Yeah.
Like, the focus was in the right areas. It read cleanly. Like, you could follow a lot of fights, like, they'll have cool poses and stuff, but it doesn't like follow as well. I think this one.
Oh yeah, so he cracks him in the face, and then he, with the brick, and he picks the brick up and he throws the brick, and the brick almost goes through this other guy. I mean, like, the thwack.
That was one of the better art pieces. Like, that image stood out to me before I looked it up when you say it.
And then they're still human though, so they're still fallible.
Yeah, it's some kind of cyborg biomechanical something.
Yeah, but they're still fallible to like the old sand in the eyes.
Yeah, exactly. Your teeth still break.
Your teeth still break, and glass will still stick to your face when you're ground into it.
Okay, so here's something I thought was interesting. There's one scene where our main character guy is like doing a rooftop chase, and he's chasing one of these biomechanically optimized characters, and that guy jumps between a roof, and he doesn't. He like slips and like breaks his teeth.
Yeah, I
thought that was really interesting because it was pretty much unnecessary. Well, but it just like showed that he is just a normal guy and like he's able to make mistakes. But like you don't usually see, someone messing up like that, like breaking their teeth.
Right. Well, I think that
main character in the first episode.
I thought that was a pretty cool scene because he is following like the two dudes that are battling. He needs that tech. That gives like a small little nugget of how this guy is not going to fail at his job. And we meet at the same time, his handlers who are saying, or one of the handler who says he's not going to mess this job up. He will not fail.
Yeah.
And
I feel like they said that almost too much.
Well,
Like they're like that's like his number one quality to them is like he does whatever it takes to get the job done. Like I feel like they said that kind of thing a couple different times, a couple different ways, but it didn't really mean. I remember reading it and being like, that doesn't really mean anything to me. Like he gets the job done. Okay, well,
he's James Bond. He's gonna get the job. He's gonna get the job done. And what did you think of the handlers? Because we do meet a pair of. So we meet somebody who is definitely the optimist and somebody who is the pessimist.
mm-hmm.
In a room with a bunch of computers and some snarky language back and forth.
Yeah.
James, you're gonna have to handle this one.
I'm not sure, actually. You know, I don't. I guess I don't have much to say on this for some reason.
I just thought this was just
like. I thought it was. They have an interesting dynamic, and like when they started having sex, I wasn't expecting that.
Wasn't that cool?
They're so like opposite characters, but then like in a later cutscene, that it starts off with them having sex. Because that also surprised me because I didn't think that sex was going to be in this comic. Like usually, you get hit pretty early with like a character swearing, or like there's some gore, or there's some cleavage or something. But like I feel like this was pretty far pages in before, like to be the first. Like I don't know. I was surprised by it.
I just thought it was such a neat because she is of the, I guess like the new school, and he is of the old school.
Oh, and she's even like prim and proper, and he's more like older and slovenly. Like he's got like a gruffled beard, and she's got like a sneer.
Yeah, and like opposites attract sort of thing. And here we are.
Yeah.
And there must have been some downtime.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it happens, and I thought it was kind of like sweet almost. Like I was like, wow, this is like that happened.
But they're very serious, and they're talking about like we need people who get things done.
Yeah. And then we just flash right back to, I guess we haven't seen the sex scene. Back to
some action.
And this
where this is pretty, bloody.
This is some bloody stuff.
It's pretty bloody, I guess.
So one of these characters,
there are some pretty bloody parts here.
He looks, I love this art. This, like, Michael Walsh has killed it on this art. Like, there's like that classic, like.
There's a lot of, like, just scrolling through, there's a lot of scenes where just a character has a lot of blood on them.
Yeah, and then this particular
scene. Maybe, like, I didn't realize it until I'm just doing this quick scroll, but maybe, like, half of the pages have at least a panel with a character half covered in blood.
The one I'm looking at right now is just great because the bald character, the one that we can see his face of, has been smashed into a wall. He's got a crazy look on his face. He is so punk rock. And I think the reason I think he's punk rock is because he's got shards of glass stuff into his face that look like little mohawks stuffed.
Yeah, they do.
It is such a great page. And he runs into our Agent Zero, and Agent Zero is posing as a tank operator, and this guy calls him Tanky, which I think you can almost hear this guy's accent when he calls him Tanky. And then he's like, Tanky, you better get out of here. You're going to get hurt. Then the other guy shows up, the guy with the tech in his chest. And all the while, the clock is running.
So the one of the things they did well in this book was like the use of bombs with timers. Because I think that's a really cool thing that really only exists in like espionage type movies or comic books. Is that bomb with the ticking timer. It just, because comic books don't take like a set amount of time for stuff to happen, it just adds such a great layer of a hook or suspense. It's like, oh, how much time has passed now?
It is very cool because, but it's also cool to see the thought patterns of our Agent Zero as he puts together a plan. And you see him put together the plan very much like Indiana Jones would, like, on the fly, like he punches that Nazi guy, puts a hat on, like now I'm a Nazi, like
Yeah, exactly. Let me straighten this up here.
Yeah, and he kind of does a quick ruse. Oh, and I guess we failed to mention. Oh, my microphone's giving me some static. Anyhow, I guess we failed to mention that all of this story is being told to a little kid.
Yeah, there's like a 1-page frame where it's like this guy. So it shows that he's alive, I guess, and he's in a wheelchair talking to a kid. He's like, let me tell you my story. And the kid is like about to shoot him. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it looks like it's a hit, and this little kid has been contracted to hit him. And so that gives you, James.
Yeah, I totally forgot that frame, which it's important because it tells us our character stays alive, which I don't know if I like or not.
Well, that gives you the frame of, so like I said, this comic book won 18 issues.
Mm-hmm. It's a good number.
That is letting you know that
maybe read all of them.
That you're going to get this story to the end. So you're gonna
and that front story might expand out to be more than just a guy in a wheelchair and a kid with a gun.
Right. So here's that scene that James was talking about. He's chasing these the tech guys, and he barely makes this leap. Like we're saying about this agent, he is not going to fail, even when it means making these impossible leaps. And he barely makes this one, cracks his face open.
Yeah, I'd say he didn't make it, but I guess he kind of made it.
Yeah, well, he's not dead. And then there's the sex scene that we were talking about with these characters, and they have a back and forth about like the different I just hope this happens. I hope this.
Yeah, I hope he gets stuff done. Oh yeah, he's a get stuff done guy.
But if he doesn't get stuff done, the world is going to know that this stuff happened.
Yeah, that this kind of technology exists out there.
Yeah, so if he doesn't, we're not. Nobody's going to be pleased.
Mm-hmm.
And he pulls the wool over the eyes of his, are these his own guys? Because they let him into the tank. Yeah,
so it was a little confusing for me. It seemed like he was just on nobody's side who was actually in the field. Whoever was in there, he was willing to kill him to get out just so that they didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah, so he jumps into this tank with this tank operators, and he fakes a story about how the commanding officer says, "Take these two dudes out, but don't kill them."
Lie to get into whatever position, so then he can have what he wants, so then he can kill all the people who saw him.
And this tank commander says, "Well, I'm going to try and contact the commanders," and he's got a little device that jams the signal. He's a spy. He's got that device.
He's got that spy tools.
And he makes that play. They shoot the tech down, and
he's able to get the whatever it is, and then is able to walk away with a big explosion behind him.
What a cool thing! So he sets the bomb, and then I love his getaway. I love the fact that he does this, he does that, and then 45 minutes I'm en route out of town.
Yeah, exactly. He's got it all planned out.
He's got it all planned out, and there were people available that he's either killed. Earlier in the book, he kills a commanding officer, and he takes that and he stashed that guy's body and that guy's clothes. So he's able to use his body or his clothes to call up and get a car to get him out of harm's way. And mission completed.
There we go.
That's the first issue.
I was kind of surprised, and the fact that it wrapped up in a first issue, it didn't completely wrap up, but the amount of conclusion that it had, I thought it was interesting because it's okay, maybe every issue is going to have its own. I like when things wrap up. It's satisfying, but you don't usually get it in the first issue very much.
No, you don't. A lot of my favorite comics will do, they're called one and dones, or
exactly, a one series arc.
Yeah, a one issue, we did it, and I love it when they can do that. A couple weeks ago I talked about Jonah Hex and
Jonah Hex does that.
Jonah Hex. Oh, Jonah Hex did 52 issues of that. But
Yeah,
Jonah
exactly.
Hex and Yosemite Sam